The funny part about the Panthers, well, let's be real. There's a lot of funny parts about the Panthers. One of the things they're dealing with that is unusual is most teams made a lot of their hard decisions over the last 24 hours. The Panthers made exactly like 50% of their hard decisions over the last 24 hours, and they get to make just as hard decisions over the next 24 hours. They are number one in the waiver line. I'm struggling, right? And this is where, like, if I were a GM, I'm calling in my assistant GM, my director of football operations, my head scouts. We're getting in the team room, and I am letting them argue in front of me to see if I can find clarity on what I want to do, because I'm not 100% certain on what the Panthers should be doing with their waiver wire. So I'm going to give you the devil on my shoulder and the angel on my shoulder, right? The two people arguing right now. Part of me says you have the opportunity to really, really help positions of need, right? Which will increase the quality of your roster for week one and likely most weeks after that, right? By covering up potholes in your roster, it'll make it a smoother sailing season, which is important for a new coach. It's important for a new GM. You want to show that things are changing. I talk about reinforcement, right? Which means, hey, we've asked you to do a lot of new things. If you do them, look at this improvement, right? If they win 2 of their first 4 games, people are going to be clamoring for what Dave Canales has to tell them, because they're going to go, this is so much different than last year. Thank goodness you're asking us to do these other things.
Coach of the year at that point.
So if you're going that path, you're pretty much exclusively looking for edge rushers, corners, maybe a tackle or two, right? You're looking for the positions that we've been saying we're concerned about with this roster for the last month, right? You're looking for the best corner, maybe the best 2 corners that have been waived across the NFL, claiming them. You're looking for the best edge rusher, maybe the best 2 edge rushers, claiming them, because that can boost how good of a team you are. But the flip side, right? That's, let's call that the angel argument. The devil argument on my shoulder is saying, this team is not that good, okay? They're improved significantly from last year, and you're going to see that, but they're still in the point of their rebuild where positional importance or where your roster is constructed is a little less important, and it's more about potential, it's more about value, it's more about ceiling, in which case I would say pick up the best young players regardless of position, right? Because the funny part is, like, you know, say something along the lines of, well, we don't need tight end because we don't need let me pick a better example. We don't need a safety because our safeties are really good. All right, that seems like a relatively normal thing to say, right? We like our depth at safety, don't need to claim a safety. In all honesty, do you think Xavier Woods will be here when the Panthers are a contender? If it takes 2, 3, 4 years for the Panthers to be a contender. So if there's a 23-year-old safety out there that is waived by someone else that you think has potential and you can develop, maybe you go get that guy. Will that make you a much better team week 1? No, because Xavier Woods is playing week 1. But does it in some way allow your team to build value over the years? Maybe. I had this conversation, or I had this thought. Bailey Zappi was released by the Patriots. Now, I do not have quarterback anywhere near the list of needs for the Panthers.
Well, depending on who you ask, some might say otherwise.
Realistically.
I know what you're saying, though.
Even, like, by the way, if you hate Bryce Young, you want Bryce Young to play every game this year. If you hate Bryce Young, the fastest way to get Bryce Young out of there is to have him in the game looking not good, right? Right now, he's a bowl of potential. If you want him out there exposing whatever he is if you think he stinks. But that's not even what I'm saying. I'm not talking about replacing Bryce. I'm saying it's pretty set in stone that it's going to be Bryce is the starter, Andy Dalton is the backup. You don't save any money by cutting Andy Dalton. And then Jack Plummer will be on the the practice squad. So why in the world would you need Bailey Zappi? My answer is you don't. But, again, the devil on my shoulder is going, What are you really going to do with the 53rd roster spot? Bailey Zappi is a guy that has starting quarterback experience in the NFL, and somebody might have a quarterback issue in week 8, in which case you could turn around and trade Bailey Zappi for a 4th-round pick. Value building, right? KJ Henry, edge from Clemson, I think fits both. I think you go claim that guy. From Washington. Mm-hmm. He was waived by Washington, but he was a draft pick. He is a physical specimen. He's at a position of need, and he's young with potential. If you can find 8 guys that fit both my angel argument and my devil argument, you claim them all and you move on with a happy life. But other like Jesse Davis is a tough one for me. Jesse,
who's that?
Offensive lineman, waived by the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his 30s, low 30s, but in his 30s.
He's like 31, 32.
He's 6'6", 320 pounds of NFL tackle, right? Which is a position of need. Ike Ekwonu. Yosh Nijman I really do like, but his health has been not there as of yet.
He's still recovering.
He has Jesse Davis, this player that was waived by the Saints, has 72 career starts. He is a player that is proven to be an NFL caliber offensive lineman. I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowler, but I'm saying he's started 72 games. I think there's a chance he makes your roster better week 1. Right? The depth is there. It makes you more comfortable with the offensive line. It gives you more options if Icky doesn't live up to expectations.
I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there by looking at him going like, yeah, he can help us.
Which shows you his value. And the Panthers have first choice, so they're the ones that could take him.
He's a vested veteran. He's
true.
A free agent.
Also
he can
true.
sign
So
anywhere.
you have to go negotiate. Well played. But let's pretend he's on waivers just for the kind of philosophical argument I'm having. He makes you better week 1. There's like 0% chance I think he makes you better next year or the year after. That's the argument I'm having. I think you could do a lot of damage as far as just making the Panthers a win or 2 better if you just go all in on winning now with your waiver picks. Is that worth passing on the lotto tickets for the future, knowing that a win or 2 better might take you from 5 wins to 6 or 7? From 6 wins to 7. I'm struggling. I don't know who to acquiesce to, the devil or the angel on my shoulder. I do know that if you can find the sliver in the middle of that Venn diagram, I'm all in. I think KJ Henry from Washington is that. I think Caleb Farley, a cornerback, former first-rounder that was waived by the Titans, is that. He's a young player, dealt with injuries, might be great, from the state of North Carolina originally. I think he fits a position of need and has that upside. But it's when you have to start getting to choosing one or the other that it becomes much, much more difficult philosophically to knock out here. Players that are good that have been waived: Tim Patrick at Denver, Kevin Harris, the running back from the Patriots. If you watch the Drake May game, he's the one that scored. Bailey Zappi, Caleb Farley. John Mechie might be available via trade. If that happens, Panthers better be involved. He's Bryce Young's boy from college. And KJ Henry. Those are the ones I think are the most kind of upward mobility.
I think the biggest question is, where do these guys fall on the damn working dog scale? That's a big question.
Well played. Well played. I'll tell you this. Caleb Farley's sophomore year at Virginia Tech, he was a dog. Since then, haven't heard much barking. But if you can get him back to that sophomore year at Virginia Tech, he's got some dog in him.